Hello, and welcome to a webinar by CSI Works. It is presented by me, Steve Slavutsky, and my contact information is listed on this slide as well. CSI Works is an ISV company. We are a solid technology partner to ISOs simply because we, as a company, do not sell merchant services. We only provide software solutions, and that makes us a good partner with ISO. We are a point of interaction expert. We write software and solutions at the point of sale, and that is our niche. Furthermore, we target consumer goods retailers, right? So anybody who sells anything that is consumable, groceries, meats, and age-restricted products being the main staple of that particular basket. The webinar today will cover barcode types. We will be focusing on label printing scale and variable barcode parsing capabilities by the app that is Variable Price Barcode Parser. We'll touch upon the barcode scanner capabilities and compatible sources that we have at CSI Works for our agent community. First, let me talk about the barcode type. The label right here that you see is a seemingly same label, right? So it's both for beef, ribeye, steak. However, the major difference of each of these labels is that one of them is putting in the total price. As you can see that I've pointed that out here on the screen. $23.84 is presented right there on the barcode, whereas this barcode here shows the pounds, the total weight, right? 1 pound 49 ounces, 149 is embedded in the barcode. So when you see a label like this, you know to use the variable price barcode parser, and when you see a label like that, you know to use the weight embedded barcode parser. Now, today we will cover the variable price barcode parser, and so now here is the label that has, it's a Canadian sour cream. $4.13 is the total price, and you can see that $4.13 is embedded right there in the barcode. Now, if you were to scan this label on Clover without the variable price barcode parser, this is what the result would look like. It would simply ask you to add a new item, and it would pick up on the entire number, the whole thing. And that's the problem, because only part of that number represents the product code and the second part of the number represents the total price. When you install variable price barcode parser, it will help Clover parse and understand these labels, and the result will look like this. So it'll find the sour cream, and the $4.13 will be picked up as the total price. Let me show you what the app looks like on the inside. If we don't have a demo device, for example, this is what the app would look like, and these are its settings in the menu. So we have the barcode settings, we have the unit tier settings, and we have the language settings. I will go through all of these today. So the first one is the barcode settings. You can see on the screen that we have 4 different options that we would consider standard. So the point of having 4 different options is to help you match which one of these options would match the label that is being printed by your merchant. And having more options on our end means that more likely the merchant wouldn't have to adjust their scale to match these settings. And so the way that these options work is that it just tells the app how to properly view the barcode, right? And so there's some coding involved, which is basically the letter I means that this position of a barcode will represent the product code or item code. And so in this option, what we're saying is that 1 through 6 is your product code, and 7 through 9 is your price. And you can see it's a capital P representing the price before decimal point, right? Like dollars. And you can see that this particular setup accommodates for 3 position points, meaning price can go over 100. And then it has 2 lowercase p's representing the cents, right? So the price after the decimal point. And C represents the character that simply is ignored. It's a trick digit if you'd like, it's ignored. And so when you're dealing with the price barcode, you want to use these settings to match whatever the barcode has, and then it would work. These two options here imply that the very first digit is ignored, and then the next set of digits is utilized. Although also at the end there's always a check digit at the end. And if none of these options work, merchants have an ability to set up their own, so they can just go line by line, code by code, and specify how to parse their barcode. So this would accommodate for unique situations that are not standard, that could potentially be resolved in these settings. The advanced setting allows for any parsing rule to be set. The point is that the customer will set that parsing rule themselves. Having these options is a standard, and so the price point for this is $9.99 per month. Having a need for the custom barcode type would move to the next price plan, the lower price plan, which I believe is $12 or $13 per month. Could be 14. Please don't quote me. Check, it's on the website. It's a little bit higher. And lastly, we're talking about the unit tear. Unit tear used to be its own app. It was sold as a separate app on its own, in addition to Variable Price Barcode Parser, but that app did not enjoy the same level of demand as the rest of the apps. And so what we've done is we've taken that app individually offline, and its entire functionality became a feature inside Variable Price Barcode Parser. Having ability to use both of these features, the price plan for that is $19 a month. And then the merchant has the scanning capabilities and the tear capabilities with advanced barcode parsing. And the unit tear would be utilized in different use case scenarios. We're going to cover 3 today, right? So you have the in-store containers. The best use case scenario for that would be a yogurt shop that, for example, sells a bunch of different ice cream, but they have like 3 different cups, right? Like a small cup, medium cup, and a large cup. And the weight of that cup needs to be removed from the weight of the ice cream in different scenarios, right? So you have a scale, and sometimes customers will come in in pair, like 2 of them, and they'll put 2 cups with 2 ice creams. And now you need to remove the weight of 2 cups at that transaction. Unit tear is the app or the feature or the functionality that does it. You would define your individual cups here in in-store containers. And then when you're weighing them during checkout, the app pops up and asks you to remove the weight of container, and you can select multiple containers for the use case that I've described. The item-specific containers, that's a scenario where you don't want to deal with the pop-up, and each item has its own container, so you can assign. You can say this container belongs to these items, that container belongs to these items, and then you could just define all that in this app here, and when you're checking customers out, the weight of containers automatically removed from that item when it's scanned or weighed on a scale, because you've defined it here. And the customer container is also a very unique use case. It's when the customers bring their own containers, and so before they even do anything, they need to come to this app and weigh the container. And then the app will throw out a little receipt with a QR code. And that receipt with the QR code will basically, the merchant will be able to scan it when the customer comes back with their container and whatever stuff is in that container. Scanning the QR code removes the weight of the customer's container. Okay, and so that's the unit tear capabilities. Now, the Variable Price Barcode Parser is also available in 3 different languages, right? So it can go English, Spanish, and French for Canada, right? So the French language is for the Canadian market that we have, not for France. We're not available in France. And so that's basically the end of the features that I'm describing. Now I want to touch upon the situation with the barcode scanners. I know that there are wireless barcode scanners that you can buy and utilize with Clover, but those are not true barcode scanners when they get installed on Clover. On Clover, they're recognized as HID keyboard, it's called. So as a HID keyboard is not a compatible barcode scanner, and our app does not talk to it. And so if you buy your barcode scanner outside of Clover, you're going to experience an issue that Variable Price Barcode Parser isn't scanning correctly. And if your merchant also is dealing with the scan of the driver's licenses, these are the only two barcode scanners that will actually be able to scan the driver's licenses. All those wireless ones will only function as a glorified keyboard, which is okay when you're scanning a can of Coke, for example, or any item that's just a flat barcode. But if you're requiring to have like a logical interaction with the barcode scanner, not possible, because it's not one, it's a keyboard. So if you don't want to deal with this, get your barcode scanners from Clover. This is the website right here, and this right here are the barcode scanners that Clover truly supports. Everything else goes in as a barcode scanner, as a keyboard. Label printing scale capability. If you have integrated label printing scale, it'll work. If you have a label printing scale with a touched label printer, it will not work. And this is the example, right? So you can see that this is a scale that has a printer label right integrated into it. This one also prints a label, believe it or not, and so are these. And the reason why we say integrated label printer is because these scale then in turn have the capacity and the capability to have item information, right? You need item name, you need price per pound or per unit or whatever, and sometimes you even need ingredients for this item. So these scale have the capacity to do that. This scale right here, even though you can attach a label printer to it, the scale itself doesn't have the capacity to maintain item information. And so the expected printout of that barcode is simply just going to have the weight information, no item information of any kind. That makes it impossible to work with. So if you're talking about label printing scale, always consider that you want to use these ones, the ones that have the label printer integrated into the scale, and not the setup of a scale plus label printer, because that almost never works right here, this setup. Okay. Then you have, lastly, what I want to talk about is the resources that are available for our agents or merchants, honestly, for CSI Works. If you just simply go to csi.works, believe it or not, this is the URL, csi.works, you would arrive to our knowledge base that lists all of the written material that we have for all of the solutions that we have. And it's searchable, which is pretty cool. So here I'm searching for variable, and right away it just pulls up all the articles that it has that mentions that word. And so that's a pretty powerful resource that you agents and merchants can utilize in finding answers to the most common, most frequently asked questions that we get asked at CSI Works. But that's not it. We have more. We also have a pretty comprehensive video library of how-to videos. Nearly 1,000 videos have already been published, and we continue to release videos all the time. Whenever we get a question that asked a little bit differently, we want to make sure that we have a video for that. And those videos, that video library is also searchable. You could go to, we have the entire domain pointing to that YouTube channel. So you can go to pointofinteraction.net, and by visiting that channel, you could search inside that channel. You can search videos only on that channel. And that becomes like a searchable database of how-to videos to all of our apps, including Variable Price Barcode Parser. Very powerful resource. And lastly, I'd like to share some contact information with me, with our shared mailbox that gets monitored by support staff, by technical staff. And so if you need some help and not just a sales pitch from me, the sales guy, just reach out to info@CSI Works, because that email gets monitored by support staff, by production developer staff, and everybody who needs to respond urgently to our community of customers or agents will monitor this email address. This right here is my email address. If you do need to hear the sales pitch, I'm happy to do it. This is my email address. And this right here is my phone number, 619-246-8236. It's also here. And the tech support line is 760-542-2178. you could text all of our lines or call us. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you for your time.